amazing. Um, as it should be, right? It's freaking January. Uh, let's run through some stuff. It's dim in here, but it feels a lot louder, hotter, cool, like not hotter, but brighter. It looks dim on the video feed. Excuse me. All right, so I'm exhausted. Well, I'm not exhausted. I'm just sort of petering because I'm not a young man anymore. And getting up at like 6:35 in the morning, and then staying up till like 10 is beginning to wear on a soul like mine. Uh, but it is what it is, man. All right, what happened today? Apparently, our president, the Honorable Joseph Robinette Biden, gave a speech that I did not see. We should probably review it. Let's review it. Uh, Biden's speech. Had the nerve to wrap himself in all this black. Oh my God! Oh, three things. Oh my God! I don't even know what to tell you. Three things caught my attention today. One is that the Ivy League schools have been sort of acting as a cartel. I said they're a business, as a cartel to keep their prices high. Um, that's how the rich stay rich and connected, right? Every now and then to perpetuate and to give it some credence that it's not some rigged old thing. They add a black guy, a black girl, a Spanish guy, a Spanish girl, but it's always the same fucking people. So yeah, I've been saying we're coming to a civil war. I've been saying it for a while because the place is openly corrupt, and it used to be just we can take advantage of black people, but everyone else gets a fair deal. Now it's just kind of like it's a free for all con fest on everybody, and nobody's happy anywhere, but the people in Congress in power. You know, the idea of that guy um, trying to sexual assault that lady behind a dumpster and walking away. The Fed should have stepped in. Just the whole environment, and then when you catch it being corrupt, their whole position is like, man, what are you gonna do about it? Nancy Pelosi insider trading, you know that which is what it looks like and what it is, right? The president's son, uh, taking money from foreign governments, and it's people are just kind of like, we see you. So now their concern is staying in power and come the midterms, and both parties have issued with their constituency. People I just call the American freaking public, right? The citizenry is what we should be called. No one's happy. Um, yeah, man, it's crazy. I'm sorry I'm a little late today. Maya Angelou is featured on a quarter. This that's the stuff that I'm talking about, right? And now the civil rights movement has become about window dressing. Hey, look, we have this person. Oh, hey, look, we put. But what people want is not to be fucked with by the cops and not to be robbed by the banks, right? And to be given a fair and decent shot. And if you're rigging how to get into the best schools, for yourself and your friends, people need to go to jail. But the criminal justice system and the judiciary and that whole apparatus, the legal system at all, is corrupt too. So who's gonna look into it? Nobody. So people get furious, and before you know it, you have a new power balance in the old system, or you throw open the old system, and that's just a fucking bloody way of getting shit done. But that's the way The country became a country at the end of the day. Um, I just think the place is so corrupt. Do I want to say corrupt? I feel like this chair is rumbling. All right. Yeah, so I don't even know. Um, Biden and Harris make a forceful push for voting rights. Wrap themselves in. Look, listen. Stop acting like. And this is the shit I'm talking about. The culture is the culture, right? The culture is the people. There's a political class of black people who are using this thing as fodder for elections and raising money. That's the New York Times, WhiteHouse.gov. Highlights on Biden's voting rights speech. New York Times. Biden calls on the Senate. Biden calls for an end to filibuster to pass voting rights. Biden on voting rights patch. I'm tired of being quiet. See, even that, I'm tired of being quiet. Like, you couldn't say anything. You're a fucking sinner. I have been for 50 years. Now he's even co opting this. Man, it makes you want to just. Oh my gosh. All right. Am I loud? I'm too loud. I'm yelling. I'm loud. I'm yelling. I shouldn't be yelling. I'm sorry. I'm trying to resonate. Because I feel like I'm further away. Even though the chair is different, I feel like I'm further away. Uh, I gotta tell you, I feel weird sitting this low. This chair is easily about 6 inches minimum lower than that chair, which which will rise like another 8 inches. Uh, but I can get my legs under this desk and play video games, which is nice. We're gonna move that camera too. Probably not here. That's not good either. But we'll see what happens. Biden's transcript and video. I don't want the transcript. Washington Post. Biden's full speech. I'm wondering if I can play it from CNN without getting into too much drama, because I could pick this apart without having to try, right? I mean, why do you have to push for voting rights? First of all, everybody should have it. And a lot more people have it because we've been dying for it for like 200 years now. So the idea that you want to curtail all this stuff, at this point, people are beginning to ask, why are we even a country anymore? If you're let's just get it over with. As dark as that is, people romanticize that stuff. Biden, Harris, a dagger. See, just more bullshit. A dagger to throw them. Shut up. Just ridiculous. It really it's irritating. It's irritating. We hear this kind of like just speeches and doing nothing while keeping these people in office. I mean, yeah, now you're desperate. And the people who keep you in power right now, I've been saying this forever, will stop coming. And little by little, the iceberg isn't instantly gone the next day. But little by little, you won't be able to get a sea change. And you will have to let foreign people in here to keep yourself afloat. And in doing so, you will cut your own throat. People who are not, I don't know, right. I mean, you will sever the ties to whatever we're all supposed to be. And I think they're doing that on the side of religion and money. But we all can't be rich and we're all not going to be religious. So, it is what it is, baby. Um, Am I even going to bother reading one of these things? I don't think I read the New York Times. I'm going to have to get a New York Times freaking subscription, aren't I? I probably am going to have to. I used to read it all the time. 99 cents every 4 weeks. The Washington Post. President Biden traveled to Georgia on Tuesday to call on the Senate to do whatever is necessary, including change at the Senate. He, dude, he's been president for a year. Come today's the 10th. A year. It will be a year in 9 days. He got sworn in January. I'm sorry. Yeah, he got sworn in January 20th. Right. The January 6th thing was a right. It wasn't an inauguration day. It was uh affirm the vote day. Right. Um. But yeah. So next week, Thursday, he will have been president for a year. He has no wins, and he's losing people seats. Crazy. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Um, when we first started doing these pods, it was at 4 o'clock. We may move these back to 4 o'clock. And just I like the old fashioned get. I may gather up some. Yeah, we may rip into this real good for a long stretch of time at 4 because I feel like I'm going back to politics. Um, it's hard to get away from. It's hard to get away from politics. Anyway, I mean, I think I know what the problem is, and I think you know what the problem is, and I think we all know what the freaking problem is. Jennifer Rubin. Yeah, another insider. So you might want to watch some of this, like grain of salt kind of shit too. Um, am I gonna slide that camera so I'm not sticking my? I think I'm gonna slide the camera. Here we go. Everybody, calm down. Calm down. Everybody, just calm down. Everybody, calm down. All right. Ah, is that better? I think that is better. All right. So, um, yeah. See, and then this doesn't get the whole. It starts right here, so it clips a lot. It clips a lot. Yeah, it clips a lot. Yeah. Anyway, President Biden traveled to Georgia on Tuesday to call on the Senate to do whatever is necessary, including changing the Senate filibuster rule to protect voting rights and secure our democracy. What was all that voting through the 57 through 68? What was that for then? For it to expire? He was eloquent and passionate. Yeah, she's yeah. I'm already tired of this. But soaring rhetoric isn't likely to persuade the two Democratic holdouts whose votes will be necessary to sidestep the filibuster. Look, they're bought off Manchin and Cinema, right? But this is not that. So you're against this too. So then my question is, who supports you? What company supports you now? Right? Because then I'll be like, look, listen. If I wanted low taxes and I made sneakers, right, and I gave you money, and you're my congressperson, and I gave you money to keep my, oops, sorry about that. I gave you money to keep my taxes low. But then on the other end, you voted against what is something that everybody should have. You voted against school for children. I would then go, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't want to. I don't. I don't want to associate with that. But that's not what they're doing, right? So they're going to get their money and they're going to get a more unfair society. Who are these companies who give her money to? Yeah. So this is where you'll end up. He was eloquent and passionate, but the soaring rhetoric isn't likely to persuade the two Democratic holdouts whose votes will be necessary to sidestep the filibuster. The battle for the soul of America is not over, he insisted, directing his ire at the defeated former president and his supporters. He sees Trump in his rearview mirror. They wanted chaos to reign. We want people. Okay, see, this is more us versus them talk, which is not going to get you the in between voters. Who's it going to get you? You think this is the middle of the ground talk that gets you the moderate? I don't know, because if they're that easily moved, they're not moderate. Um, they want a chaos to reign. We wanted the people to rule. For Republicans, he said, too many people voting in democracy is a problem, so they are putting up obstacles. Biden also highlighted Georgia's voting law that will allow partisan Republicans to replace independent election officials in vote counting. Yeah, that should be against the law. How do they stay in Congress? Why is this allowed in America? Hey, Emmanuel. That's a really good question. I was a Democrat my whole life. Now I think I'm more of a. I don't want to say independent because everybody says they're independent, but I think I'm just. That is a really good question. All right, I'm for a lot of Republican stuff, right? I'm for family and God and country and guns, right? But I'm also very liberal. I grew up in New York. I'm also for uh, being allowed to live your life and not be bothered, to be paid a free and working wage. Uh, I think the criminal justice system is ridiculous and it's too harsh. Um, I would be a really liberal Republican or a really conservative Democrat. Well, do I want to say really conservative? I'd say I would either be a liberal Republican or a conservative Democrat. So what would that make me? Okay, so yeah, so you're from a major city as well, right? Okay, yeah. So I think because I grew up going to church, I won't demonize anybody. My whole family's church people, right? And I have uh friends who demonize religious people, but I also see like you know some of this southern religious stuff has not been good, right? So I'm not blind to that. And as someone who's has a history, some whose people had a history of just being fucked with, I'm sympathetic to not being fucked with. So do your own thing. Uh, I might be a libertarian. You think so? I guess so. In that way, in the personal life, yeah, I guess so. But I'm all. I think the government. The libertarians believe the government should do stuff. I do believe the government should do stuff, but I also believe the more stuff the government does, the less stuff you do. Um, I believe that the government doesn't let you do a lot of stuff. Why don't you have a flying car? Because the government uh, doesn't want you flying overhead and crashing into houses. Now, they let you drive on the roads. You're not just driving across lawns, driving into trees. What you normally do is you go, wow, okay, we got this new technology. These are the new rules to use this technology. Not over hospitals, not over schools, not over. So we're gonna shut out this place now where you can, and just in case you do fall, you'll fall into the lake or the pond or into an empty park. Um, right? And so, yeah, you can do less and less, it seems, in America as they charge you more and more for it. Kids don't even go outside, right? I don't know, man. Um, Biden has highlighted Georgia's voting law that would allow partisan Republicans to replace independent elections in voting count, right? And yeah, and that shouldn't be allowed. Flatly accusing the GOP of seeking to subvert. So you're the president, and they're doing this thing which goes against democracy. Your only recourse is to complain to the people about it? Why did we put you there in the first place? There are some things that you should not fuck with in America, and that's the vote. And if people get elected and they're doing that, you as the federal government should come in and put an end to it. They do it because they can do it. It's just, and now you're talking about insurrections and people infiltrating police departments, it's because you look weak doing that. The government should have came down on all of those people, like they come down on like these inner city urban wannabe gangsters, right? I mean, they have the power. They're the freaking government, but they have no will, and that's the thing. This is why our enemies, got more emboldened after Trump left office because Trump was their wild card, and Trump was not what his own government expected. So the North Koreans stopped shooting missiles at us, right? We blew up that guy who was killing American troops with the terrorists in Iraq, and then he made the arrogant move of flying into Iraq into a war zone, and they blew him clean the fuck off the map, right? You're right. Everybody wants to hack the law until like. So I was like, yeah, Donald Trump was good for America in a sense that the arrogant, lazy, entitled aristocracy that is, the money people and the politicians in Washington, had to deal with somebody that they couldn't just usher out of the room with a security detail, right? Um, so now they still talk about him. They can't stop talking about him. He's the all things wrong with America. So you have to keep us in the vote to keep. There's always a new boogeyman. So yeah. Ugh, let's put this up a little further. There you go. All right. Uh, Drama, man. The thing is, people want election reform, so they're gonna talk about voting rights, and it can be us against them, tit for tat. He said, she said, bullshit. Versus election reform, which is y'all motherfuckers shouldn't be sitting there forever, right? And that's what the people have wanted forever, and they won't move on it. But they still need you to be outraged about something. So there will always be something to be outraged about. I still say it to this day. Remember, there was supposed to be a P tape and Russian prostitutes and all this other shit. Where is that? Meanwhile, you're going to indict everybody around them. Perpetual investigations. Like when he was in office, nothing's going to happen to Trump. But they've got to justify themselves somehow. And now another election cycle, they need to stay there. It's not just on the Democratic side. Republicans have their own issues too with their constituency. So I guess I follow more of the Democratic angle. So maybe I'm a Democrat. I'm a conservative Democrat, I guess I'd say, instead of a liberal Republican. So yeah, I might be a libertarian. Because yeah, who has the money? All the people who don't want to pay taxes and who want to be able to. Hey, we should be allowed to have, you know, lead and fucking rocks in the drinking water, right? And then all of a sudden your congressman's like, I think we're too soft on these children with the drinking standards. And before you know it, your kids' teeth and hair are falling out because there's freaking lead in the water. Meanwhile, that congressman is getting money from these money people and he's got an apartment in your district, but he's got a giant house, in another state someplace. It's that kind of nonsense. Um, I need to get to this article. By how highlighted the Georgia voting law. Yeah, this is the federal government not doing what it should. Biden's tone was defiant and indignant, continuing the newly aggressive tone he has displayed in recent weeks. Ooh, newly aggressive tone. Oh wait, didn't you hate on Trump for having an aggressive tone? I'm tired of being quiet. You've been a fucking senator for 50 years. Now all of a sudden you're tired of being quiet? He pointed that if the Senate can change the rules to prevent a default on the federal debt, it can also do so to protect voting rights. Whatever. The next few days, when the bill comes to a vote, will mark a turning point in this nation. Will we choose democracy over autocracy? He's an autocrat. He's an autocrat. Light over shadow, justice over injustice. I would like to remind you that there's been a lot of injustice going on, and you haven't done anything about it. Instead, and here's one of those moves. Instead, like when this whole thing happened, the first thing people wanted to do and got stuck on is tuition forgiveness. And I've always been like, not everybody's in college. Tuition forgiveness is only for a super select small group of people. So now you've marshaled all these shootings and all this stuff into elections to have one all-encompassing thing, which is like college loan forgiveness. And not everybody went to college. And then people just go, why am I even part of this movement? Why am I even voting? So I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you. Um, Justice or injustice. It's I know where I stand, Biden declared. Oh really? When did you change your stand? Because you have a 50-year record of standing with injustice. A 50-year record. I will not yield. I will not flinch. You're 90 years old. What fighting? You, oh my God, I'm beginning to lose my shit here. All right. I will not flinch. I will defend your right to vote in our democracy against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And so the question is, where will the institution of the United States Senate stand? He warned that history will not be kind to those who support election subversion. Pointing on, putting on an exclamation on the issue, he shouted, "How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be on the side of John Lewis or Bull Connor? You want to be on the side of Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis?" What do I even start with that fucking sentence? Uh, I've got issues with John Lewis. I've said so on this podcast before. Um, and Joe Biden stood with Bull Connor, quite frankly, the Southern segregationist of the 70s. But so what is he talking about? Abraham Lincoln got a bullet to the head, and Jefferson Davis got a pardon and lived as a hero throughout his days. To put up monuments that were just now tearing down about him. What are you talking about? And you didn't remove them. $705 billion to the military. So this is the kind of shit I'm talking about. He's sitting here talking like he doesn't have a 50-year record. Who wrote this stupid speech? And he gave it before. Well, he gave it at like 2 in the afternoon, right? Didn't he? When was this speech? I gotta find out what time this speech was. Was I should just look it up on YouTube. It'll tell me when it went. Joint session of Congress. No, that's not what we're looking at. April 28, 2021. That's not what we're looking at. Yeah, let's. You know what? I'm sorry. We're gonna just click on video. That's 5 days ago. This is 2 hours ago. So this was 2 hours ago. It's a quarter to eight. So what is that? A quarter to six? A quarter to six. What are you doing? Yeah. So it's like 5:45. Normally these speeches happen at around like 10 o'clock at night after you've had dinner and a meal, and a, excuse my language, a good shirt. Uh, and then you watch a little of your favorite sitcom. You get a little laughing in. You watch some of the sports. You go ha 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 ha. And then the president cruises through, and you're like, ah, damn it. And it's like, hey, now, ladies and gentlemen, a special message from the president of the United States. He comes out, my fellow Americans. I'm a fat cat balling out of control, and I'm about to fuck your life up even worse because we either going to war or you're going to lose money, but I'm going to still get paid. And on top of that, I'm interrupting your television show. Thank you. Have a good night, and God bless America. And then two people come in who are making millions of dollars and go, wow, the president said he is going to do whatever the fuck he wants. What do you think about that, Jim? Well, I've been covering these people for 40 years, and I secretly golf with them, and I know his business, he knows my business, and I like sitting here, so I'm not really going to rock the boat, so I can't really kiss his ass, so I'm going to tell you why I didn't like that speech, and I think that it went on too long, and he didn't say anything. Oh, I totally disagree, Bob. I also sitting here making millions of dollars, wanting to stay up here, has to take the opposite group so we can cover all the bases and tell you why I think it was an excellent speech of nonsense and blah 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 and gobbledygook and nonsense and knuckleheadness. And then you turn it off or you go back to your net regularly. We now send you back to your regularly scheduled program, and you instantly forget. All you know is, you know, they ain't doing nothing about the gas prices or the food prices or my commute or my be able to afford college, or they're not helping me with my. You might as well not even see these people. You know what I mean? The United States have given Israel a total of $146 billion. Wow. Yeah. Won't give me shit. Anyway, yeah. So I think we're primed for like people just going, you know what, fuck you people. You know what? This country is our country, not your country, quote unquote, like millionaire people who don't fight these wars and don't pay this stuff and ship your jobs overseas, and all of that bad blood brewing all over the place. Look, every con gets called eventually. You might pull it 1,000 times, but once you pull it 1,001 time, right? Uh, Nothing lasts forever, and I think we're in a nothing lasts forever period. I think so many people are unhappy and think this thing is ridiculous that the only people talking pretty nonsense talk about it are in on it. And you know what? Remember when Saddam Hussein fell? There was that lady talking about uh, that the Americans will pay and all this stuff, and then no, was it it was in Iraq? I forget. I forget which time, but there were two. One that was Baghdad Bob, who was like, "There are no Americans in Iraq," as stuff was growing in, and they had this woman who it might have been Afghanistan, and when they caught her after the invasion, she was like, she was made to say all this stuff, and they didn't charge her with anything because they were like, we know the society. Of course, you had to freaking say that, and it's one of the best gigs a lady can have. Excuse me, in this society. So why wouldn't you? So the hell did, and then they released it someplace. I think she skipped town and lives in Paris now. Um, but it's that kind of like nonsense. Uh, ooh, good lord. Um, Good lord. Where's that ball collar line? Jesus Christmas. All right, hold on. I'm trying to get back into it. The next Dave's kind military deployment. Where do we stand? I will not flinch. John Lewis or Bull Connor, Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis. Here we are. The voting rights activists, some of whom petulantly snubbed the speech because Biden didn't deliver it earlier, have been frustrated that Biden has not come up with a magic formula. See that? You got to watch how people word shit. Have been frustrated that Biden has not come up with a magic formula to persuade. So that implies the idea that magic formula implies that it really does imply that they're being unreasonable. You know what I mean? Versus just saying they're frustrated that Biden, over the course of this time, hasn't delivered on many of his promises. That would be a fair assessment, as rather than this way, which more takes a shot at the voting rights activists. But she's connected. I mean, it's a giant circle of just. Remind me to talk about the education cartel. We're gonna look that up too. We may run long tonight. We didn't even set up the clock. What time is it? Woo! Okay, it's eight. It's 5 to 8. So I think we've been streaming for about half an hour. Um, but the question is, the money. Milton said there are God's chosen people and are worth every penny of that 146 billion. Come on. Look, the money could be better be spent here at home, I think. Right? And quite frankly, America's always in bed with the wrong fucking people. Like those Vietnam people who were just wiping out like nuns and shit in like South America. Not Vietnam, the Vietnam people wiping out nuns in South America. What are you talking about? What were they called in the 70s? The Contras in Nicaragua, right? I mean, people were killing preachers in Colombia. We were on the wrong side of history on that. We're always on the wrong side. We were in bed. We had to protest our government and other governments to divest from South Africa, right? I mean, we were on the wrong side of that. So it's just come on, man. We're on the wrong side of this too. The Palestinians, but at the end of the day, here at home, you know, I don't even know what to tell you. I think the system is just so freaking ridiculous. Milton says joking, yeah, about that last comment about the 146 billion. Yeah, write him. Yeah, don't write me letters. One, I won't read them, and I would just forward them to Milton. Um, but the problem here becomes I've got all these questions. I'm telling you about it online, right? I should be able to have somebody come down and talk to me about it. And you're not going to get that. You're going to get party speech. Everybody's got a fiefdom. Um, and the new energy is online and they know it. So now you get like people from cable TV online hoping to like kind of make a say a mark or the same dent or whatever. But I don't know, man. Commerce is commerce, but you can still get rich without fucking over the values of the country, can't you? Like that. I remember Google to operate in China was helping the Chinese people find dissidents. I was like, what in the world are you doing? Uh, yeah, I don't know, man. Voting rights activists some petulantly snubbed the speech because Biden didn't deliver it earlier. See, so some of them petulantly, like children are petulant, snubbed it because Biden didn't deliver it earlier, right? So she's obviously got scorn for the voting rights people. She's one of these people who, man, Jennifer Rubin. Yeah, let me guess. We're gonna look up Jennifer Rubin real quick. At University of California at Berkeley and BA History of California, and Jade, she's a lawyer too. All right, so she strikes me one of these Hillary Clinton age liberal burn your bra types in the '60s, California Berkeley movement, right? Um, and now has come full circle, but she's likely still will consider herself a Democrat when she's probably not. She's because Hillary Clinton is quite frankly is a Republican. She really is. Uh, she covers politics and policy, foreign and domestic, provides insight into conservative movement. She's conservative, the Republican and Democratic parties, and threats to Western democracies. Oh, really? She just so she covers it. She just covers everything. Rubin is also MSNBC contributor and came to the Post after 3 years with the Commentary magazine. Okay, whatever. Yeah, yeah. They're all in bed together. Yeah, that whole petulant and yeah. Let's see what else she has to say. Voting rights activists, some of whom petulantly snubbed the speech because Biden didn't deliver earlier. Really, is that why they? Because he didn't deliver earlier? What did they have time? Yeah, you know what? You should have gave a time so we could have known how early we are talking about. Have been frustrated, and Biden only delivers early speeches. And Biden have been frustrated that Biden had not come with a magic formula to persuade Democrat Senators Joe Manchin, who's really a Republican in the Democratic Party, and Kristen Sinema, who's just comes across as an idiot, that protecting democracy is more important than sustaining the filibuster. They've been talking about doing in the filibuster since Obama, and Obama left 5 years ago. So they just keep bringing up the same shit to talk about while nothing ever changes. Ugh. Sadly, there may be nothing Biden or anyone else can do that will compel them to consider their moral responsibility and historical legacy. They give a fuck about moral responsibility. And as he said, he has 50 other presidents in the Senate who don't report to him. And both Manchin and Sinema have apparently decided that placating right wingers in their states outweigh their obligation to support democracy. I would arrest his kid and whoever's giving them money because it's fucking bribery. They write the law that you can be bribed. I would challenge that by arresting them. How you like them freaking apples? Don't tell me there's not a fucking solution. um, their obligation to democracy. I mean that. All right, and they're getting look. The thing about Joe Manchin, he drives a Maserati and has a yacht in one of the poor. Like this is just how is he representing you, America? Like they just sell you money and shit so much. You see it so often that you expect, right? At this point, I'm expecting like the Catholic Church to show it with like a grill, gold teeth, and because everybody just expects it. Some jobs shouldn't have that. All right. Uh, persuade former Democratic Senator to persuade. Why did I say former? To persuade Democratic Senator Joe Manchin III, West Virginia, and Christian West Virginia, and Christian Sinema, Arizona, that protecting democracy is more important than just compelling them to consider their moral responsibility in history and historical legacy. I think they should take the voting rights away. Yeah, I think you should force people's hand. Yeah, fight for it. Create an American insurgency since everybody's already fucking given up with marching. Yeah, take shit away. Something has to give. This is a great way to play Jenga, by the way. This right here is societal political Jenga. How much more can I fuck with you after I fuck with you this long? How much won't what is the point where you won't take it anymore? What is the point where other people go, okay, this is ridiculous that you're doing this to them, right? Hey, thanks, man. Good to see you. Um, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Sadly, there may be nothing Biden or anyone else can do that says you could compel, yeah, 50 senators. That's the problem. Too many chiefs, right? They can sit there for 50 years like he did. Now he's talking about it's a problem. He stood in the way of voting rights, not voting rights. He's 1973 education. What is he talking about? Joseph Robinette Biden. I mean, yeah, like there wasn't a camera. Like no one. Yeah, it's crazy. All right. Biden or anyone else can say what compels them to consider them more responsible in historical legacies. As he said, he has 50 other presidents in the Senate who don't report to him, and both Manchin and Sinema have apparently decided that placating right wingers in their state outweigh their obligations to support democracy. Huh. All right. Biden has no superpower to change the minds of the two holdouts. See that? So she's obviously speaking on behalf of Biden has no superpower. This is a slanted right. I was about to say read. There's nothing wrong with reading it. She's slanted toward you know the Democratic establishment. So she's taking a shot. Obviously, at the two people you should take a shot at. She's also written in a way that protects Biden and does not bring up his history that we all know. And she wrote it in a way to take shots at Biden's critics, the voting rights community, while not naming anybody at all. Yeah, she sucks. I've read so many of these things through my life. I can tell a slanted read. Biden has no superpower. Yeah, the 90-year-old has no superpower. Biden has no superpower to change the mind of two holdouts who won't come around to voting reform or the Build Back Better package. If he did possess such sway, he surely would have used it. Activists make a valid activists. Ooh, let's see what she gives him credit for. Activists make a valid point that Biden's defense of democracy should have begun earlier and might have helped his image as a strong leader. But an earlier stance in favor of change the filibuster likely would not have been effective. He's been talking about BBB practically every day for months, and Manchin and Sinema are still not on board. A president can lay down a moral and constitutional marker. He can sway voters who strongly support voting reform, but he cannot force Manchin and Sinema to defend democracy. That's not fucking true. Perhaps voting rights activists would have applied more. This is going to be good. Perhaps voting rights activists should have applied more pressure to donors, to business interests back home. Maybe they would have corralled other prominent Democrats in West Virginia or Arizona to sway Manchin Sinema or pilloried them with ads, but all that might also have failed. You asked for the job. Now, oh, her uh, her rationale for why you shouldn't ask him to do anything. You should keep it small town. Man, she's probably worth $20 million if she's worth a nickel. Um, the GOP implacably opposes the GOP's implacable opposition to reform and nationwide assault on voting requires complete unity among Democrats. Barring that, really, that's what it requires. Why do you know what it requires, journalists? Anybody can write this shit. If it's implacable, doesn't matter. They're not going to move because they're implacable. This thing is so fucking slanted. The GOP's implacable opposition to reform and nationwide assault on voting rights require complete unity among Democrats. So to do what? To do what? You've got a 50-50 Congress, and you've had one before and you didn't do dick. Barring that, Democrats simply need more votes. They might get them in 2022 if they can hold the House and win back the Senate seats in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or elsewhere. Until then, Democrats' fate rests with Two stubborn sinners whose sole concern is their standing with conservatives at home. Short of this divine inspiration, it's hard to imagine they will come around. Yeah, yeah. But you should tell us where that speech was. Right. Where did he give this speech? Fool. Where did he give it? YouTube. Let's go to YouTube. Let's mute that. Oh, they gave it in Atlanta, Georgia. At like 5:30. Yeah, I don't think it is surviving. I think you've made it an aristocracy. Um, what university is he at? Clark University, Atlanta University Center for Consortium. Yeah, let's show up to where all these black folk live to show them that I support them, and then sell them out again. Hey, I gave you a holiday that you didn't ask for, though. So it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so stupid. Here's the other thing. I got to get off the topic. This is the other story we're going to cover before we get out of here. Uh, where is it? Rice among 16 universities accused in price fixing cartel for financial aid. In lawsuit, in lawsuit, Yale and other elite colleges are accused of limiting funds. So this is if you were from the ghetto, right, and you could get $1 million to pay off your whole loan, they would limit how much you got. So now you had to pay a bank $300,000 that you normally wouldn't have had to pay. But a lot of the times you couldn't go because you couldn't get that extra 300 grand. They weren't supposed to play. They get all this tax exempt shit that they got, but they're not supposed to play games like this. And they play games like this. They all got together and conspired, like the mafia. No one's talking about this. This is how the elite stay elite. This and that varsity blue thing where all people pay for their kids to go to college, right? This and all these professional athletes who never go to class. Yeah, this is all cartel shit. You could make America better overnight by doing three things. One, first you fix the criminal justice system, put actual criminals there and not like anybody, right? You hold it to that standard, but you make sure that this doesn't happen. You make sure the people who actually earn these degrees. But I think the society lends itself to corruption because the society worships money, and money is the easy way, right? Once you get money, you can buy people, and people are happy to be bought. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they have a $1 billion endowment. When I heard that, I was like, your business is not education. Education is your business. You're a business. You're not trying to educate anybody. Remember, George Bush Jr. went to Harvard, right? Business school. Best of the best. Donald Trump went to Wharton. Best of the best. It's like when some of these famous kids go to, military. They don't have to do shit. They go to these colleges, they don't have to do shit. So why are we surprised? Oh man. Um. So should we read one of these? Cause I'm telling you, they keep you on the bottom, and didn't and like I say on this show all the time. Look, the stuff that they used to do that used to become known after hundreds of years, right? Uh, would then become known after 50 years, right? Now things are becoming known almost instantly with this fast-paced internet world, right? Um, Now you're sitting here going, somebody, maybe not you, but somebody's flashing back who's a truck driver, bus driver, you know, thinking, I knew it, man. I could have went to that school. I could have been a dentist, doctor, lawyer, engineer, rocket scientist, whatever. But I couldn't get the money. I had to, all kind of, or it's just, and there's no recourse, and they know it. So they rig it and rig it and rig it, and then eventually you hack the system so bad, like the system's full of holes and hacks that the system doesn't work anymore. And you can look at it that way. Does this system really work? Now the new indignity is that you can't buy a house. So now you have to be a permanent renting society. Who wants that? Can't go to college, right? They keep you out. I mean, all while propping yourself up, right? Call it like calling everybody a hippie or whatever. Um, I mean, the only reason why weed is legal is because all these places economics were in the toilet. And then some of the more liberal places were like, "Oh, we made $40 billion on one weed." And people were like, "Wait, what? How much did they make?" Now all of a sudden it's legal everywhere. People having like, "Oh well, for medicinal purposes," and then like the bolder state was like, "Nah, use it for whatever you want." And now it's generally a for what use for whatever you want kind of policy going around. But how long did they make people suffer with this weed policy? And they still would have been making you suffer had they not had to change it for money, not for moral anything, for money. So yeah, let's read this from the Houston Chronicle. You're up, baby, baby. What in the world is this? How do I even get this out of here? All right, good lord, man. See, this is why you want people to read your information, but you don't want. Just let people. 16 top universities sued over allegation of conspiring to lower 588. The lawsuit claims that these seven were part of a 568 cartel of universities that achieved success. There were that many. What? There were 568 of these colleges? That's crazy. I'm not gonna be able to read. Am I gonna be able to read this? I might get one more login. Let's try and read it. Stephanie Saul and Anima Hartocollis. 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 Harta. An, an, anemona. 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 Anemona Hartocollis. That sounds like the name of a detective in like a story. Uh, Stephanie Saul and Anemona Hartocollis. That is a name. Uh, a lawsuit filed in federal court on Monday accused 16 of the nation's leading private universities and colleges of conspiring to reduce the financial aid they were awarded to admitted students through a price fixing cartel. How come the feds didn't raid them and lock them up? I mean, financial aid is a federal thing. This is what I mean by the rich stay rich and they don't go to jail and It's just, I mean, the lawsuit filed in federal court has to be a lawsuit. I mean, the Fed should have raided this place. The lawsuit filed in federal court in Chicago on behalf of the raided like this, like should have like walked into that place and started taking boxes out. The lawsuit filed in federal court in Chicago on behalf of five former undergraduates who attended some of the universities named in the suit take aim at a decades-old antitrust exemption granted to these universities for financial aid decisions and claims that the college has overcharged an estimated 170,000 students who were eligible for financial aid over nearly 2 decades. Ooh, you know what that means? That means that all these lawyers are going to start filing class action lawsuits for all these units. Because I was like, why do they have $1 billion? It doesn't make any. It's the greed. It's the greed. It's the sheer greed. And nobody likes to be taken advantage of. Um, who were eligible for national over nearly 2 decades, 170,000 students. The university accused of wrongdoing are Brown, the California Institute of Technology, the University of Chicago, Columbia, Cornell, Dartmouth, Duke, Emory, Georgetown, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Northwestern, Notre Dame, the University of Pennsylvania, Rice, Vanderbilt, and Yale. The allegations hinge on the methodology of calculating financial need. So you're telling me the best universities in the country got the math wrong? Ooh, that is going to be a super hard sell in court. But they're the best universities. Are they the best universities because they are the best universities, or are they the best universities because they say so? Yeah, here come the lawyers. I hope the best university has the best lawyers. The allegations hinge on the methodology for calculating financial need. The 16 schools collaborated in an organized or collaborate. The 16 schools collaborate in an organization called the 568. Okay, the 16 schools collaborate in an organization called the 568 Presidents Group that uses a consensus approach to evaluating a student's ability to pay, according to the lawsuit. Under federal antitrust law, I really want to go to law school. I'm too old to go to law school. I don't have any money to go to law school. I'm a bit tired. I was a shitty student. But it's nice to wish things like that you're never gonna do. Guitars on my music's on my bucket list. Let's just fucking deal with that. Under the federal antitrust law, these universities are permitted to collaborate on financial aid formulas if they do not consider a student's ability to pay in the admissions process. Right? So you know what that means? That to me means this. Okay, we all have colleges, right? What we can do is go, because otherwise everybody's undercutting everybody. Financial aid, you'll give you this much, I guess, for undergrad and this much for doctorate, and that's of our fees. It'll be whatever X Y what like your university may be 100,000, mine's maybe 50, right? But it's X. Your tuition is X times 2%, 10%, 50%, whatever. And none of us are charging any more than that. Okay, we all agree on that percentage, right? Then they started going, well, the poor people, black people from this neighborhood can't pay, right? So we're going to give them less. So once you begin to start targeting people in this metric, you can discriminate freely versus the wide array of this is our tuition, this is the principles across the board of everybody versus, oh, that guy can't pay. That's where they fucked up. Um, the allegation hinged on the methodology for calculating financial need. The 16 schools collaborate on an organization called the 568 President's Group that use a consensus approach to evaluate a student's ability to pay, according to the lawsuit. Under federal antitrust law, these universities are permitted to collaborate on financial aid formulas if they do not consider a student's ability to pay in the admissions process. So he can't pay, he can't come here. A status called Need Blind. The group's name is a status called Need Blind. The group name is derived from a section of federal law permitting such collaborations, Section 568 of the Higher Education Act. The suit claims that 9 of the schools are not actually need blind because many years they have found ways to consider some applicants' ability to pay. The University of Pennsylvania and Vanderbilt, for example, have considered the financial need of waitlisted applicants, the lawsuit says. So, huh, wait, hold on, wait. The lawsuit said the University of Pennsylvania have considered the financial needs of a wait. I don't know what waitlisted is. I guess he has to wait. If somebody drops out, you can come, right? Waitlisted. Okay. The lawsuit says other schools, the lawsuit says, award a special treatment to the children of wealthy donors, which, given the limited number of spots, hurt students needing financial aid, right? The lawsuit claims that actions of these 9 schools, Columbia, Dartmouth, Duke, Georgetown, MIT, Northwestern, Notre Dame, the University of Pennsylvania, Vanderbilt, render the actions of all 16 universities unlawful, turning it into what the suit calls the 568 cartel. Huh? The 568 cartel. Uh, Privileging the wealthy and the disadvantaging the financially needy are inextricably linked, the suit said. They are two sides of the same coin. I agree with that. Peter McDonough, Vice President and General Counsel of the American Council on Education and Industry Organization, whose 2,000 colleges and universities preside uh, uh, I'm sorry, whose 2000 college and university presidents members include oh, good lord, university president members include leaders of 16 schools, said those cases were similar to the antitrust litigation the Justice Department filed against Ivy League schools and MIT in the 1990s. Yeah, it's not. It's not for. It's not for you. Ultimately, the MIT obtained a favorable federal appeals court ruling, and the Justice Department settled its claims. I'd be surprised to ultimately find out that there's fire where there's smoke is being sent up today, Mr. McDonald said, noting that the schools named in the complaint are very antitrust aware and particularly sophisticated. They have good advice provided to them. Yeah. Um, Several institutions, including Columbia, Duke, and Rice, declined to comment on the pending litigation. Karen Pert, a spokesman for Yale, said the university's financial aid policy is 100% compliant with all applicable laws. Yeah, that's the tricky wording, right? Um, the lawsuit is merely the latest legal action that raises questions about the admissions practices at elite universities and colleges, including the Operation Varsity Blue scandal, which I mentioned earlier, in which wealthy and well-connected donors were shown to have bought their children admission to colleges and claims that admissions at top universities are based on racial quotas. A Supreme Court decision is believed to be imminent on whether the court will consider 2 cases on affirmative action in the admission. We're still doing this bullshit. Once again, Harvard and another. Uh, Once again, Harvard and another against the University of Carolina Chapel Hill. One against Harvard and another against the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill. Neither university is named in the lawsuits. Yeah. Neither university is named in the financial aid lawsuit, but the lawsuit stated that Harvard, among other universities, declined to join the 568 group because it would have yielded financial aid packages that were smaller than what Harvard wanted to award. So Harvard said, "Y'all are giving out too little money." Now we're really trying to make people Harvard graduates and let them, you know, give them an opportunity by like sucking up some of this juice. But everyone else was like, yeah, let's fuck everybody over. Yeah, amazing to me. It is what it is, isn't it? All right, what time is it? Woo! It is 8:28. I guess this is where we're gonna end it. Please like and subscribe. This is my dealio. We're gonna be playing games shortly, sooner rather than later. One day I'll get off fancy and get a Chiron up there. Um, that day will come. That day is not today. Uh, all right. So what are we doing? What are we doing? We are coming over here. We're doing that. We're doing this. We're doing this. Stop presenting. It should just say end because stop presenting implies some weird nature freaking mating ritual. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, please, 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 please like and subscribe, and let's check the chat. Oh boy. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. What is it? If the cops don't come? Um, yeah, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood from Saturday Night Live. Versus Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. All right, so I'm beginning to ramble. I am going to get some food in my belly. It's a little late. I shouldn't be eating this late. It is cold AF outside. January, baby. 1st of January was 78 degrees. Then the wheels started falling off this bitch. Oh, all right. I've got to get it going. I want to thank everyone for coming through. Please like and subscribe. I will see you tomorrow. We're thinking about moving this thing to 4 o'clock. Are we really thinking about doing that? Who knows? All right. We will see. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening. Take care of yourself. Uh, oh, baby, it's a wild world. Um, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.